John 2 verses 13 to 25. It was nearly time for the Jewish Passover celebration, so Jesus went to Jerusalem. In the temple area he saw merchants selling cattle, sheep, and doves for sacrifices. He also saw dealers at tables exchanging foreign money. Jesus made a whip from some ropes and chased them all out of the temple. He drove out the sheep and cattle, scattered the money changers' coins over the floor, and turned over their tables. Then, going over to the people who sold doves, he told them, "Get these things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." Then his disciples remembered this prophecy from the scriptures, "Passion for God's house will consume me." But the Jewish leaders demanded, "What are you doing? If God gave you authority to do this, show us a miraculous sign to prove it." "All right," Jesus replied. "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." "What?" they exclaimed. "It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you can rebuild it in 3 days?" But when Jesus said, "this temple," he meant his own body. After he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered he had said this, and they believed both the scriptures and what Jesus had said. Because of the miraculous signs Jesus did in Jerusalem at the Passover celebration, many began to trust in him. But Jesus didn't trust them, because he knew human nature. No one needed to tell him what mankind is really like. In this passage, we witness Jesus' passionate response to the commercialization of the temple during the Passover celebration. He is deeply disturbed by the exploitation of worshippers through the selling of animals for sacrifices and the exchanging of money for temple taxes. In an act of righteous indignation, Jesus drives out the merchants and overturns the tables, declaring, "Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." This dramatic action is not simply a display of anger but a prophetic sign of Jesus' authority and his zeal for true worship. By cleansing the temple, Jesus challenges the corruption and hypocrisy within the religious establishment, calling attention to the true purpose of the temple as a house of prayer and communion with God. In response to the Jewish leaders' demand for a miraculous sign to validate his actions, Jesus cryptically speaks of the destruction and resurrection of the temple, referring to his own body. This foreshadows his impending death and resurrection, which will become the ultimate sign of his authority and the fulfillment of God's plan for redemption. Actions to take. Cultivate reverence for God. Reflect on the importance of reverence and respect in your worship and relationship with God. Guard against anything that may distract from true communion with Him, whether it be materialism, self-centeredness, or religious hypocrisy. Seek true worship. Strive to cultivate a heart of worship that is sincere and authentic, characterized by humility, reverence, and devotion to God. Let your worship be a reflection of your love for Him and a response to His grace and mercy in your life. Embrace Jesus' authority. Recognize and submit to Jesus' authority as the Son of God. Trust in His power to cleanse and transform your heart, enabling you to live a life that honors God and reflects His kingdom values. May we, like Jesus, demonstrate zeal for true worship and reverence for God's presence in our lives, allowing His cleansing and transformative power to purify our hearts and renew our commitment to Him. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.